Last time on Turbo Overkill, the goobers. Giant floating eyeball. So Sin is in control of everything now. You turn on your coffee maker and it asks you about divinity or some shit. Pretty bad situation and... oh, it's a little worse than I thought. This video will be covering everything in episode 2, and holy shit is it a wild ride. Let's not waste any more time and get to it with... The first cutscene continues the trend of Johnny doing especially gruesome things to his enemies, and perhaps hints to a more evil side. After fighting a couple waves of low-tier enemies, Johnny opens the trunk of his car and takes out an emergency weapon, the plasma gun. This brings up a problem I hinted at in the first video but didn't elaborate on, that being the rifle-type weapons. In the first video, I said that the introduction of the minigun in the third level made the Uzis mostly redundant. Well, the same can almost be said about the plasma gun, as it is seemingly better than the minigun. It's hard to tell, but I believe it does more damage. I still like the minigun, but it does make me question which one I should use when I need a general pew-pew type weapon. Anyway, we also get introduced to this goon that shoots plasma balls and drops plasma ammo when killed. That's about it when it comes to them. New goon type alert, poison zombies. These are probably the most annoying small enemy because their projectile is extremely fast, and when they die they leave a pile of shit on the ground that for some reason damages you while you're in the air. The same room is where I got the microwave beam upgrade for the plasma gun. It locks on to 3 enemies and will deal damage over time and make them explode. Here's a destroyed apartment building. Hope you like it because now it's gone. And we're on an elevator and...
Clench your holes, kids. We're entering paradise airspace. Johnny Turbo's our primary target. Teratech execs have been trying to reach him since the surge. But wouldn't you know it, that tongueless prick's gone silent. Teratech reckon that to mean one thing. The boy's been compromised.
Oh, I've already killed Johnny once. I'm getting really good at it.
Less talk, more murder. Let's frag his ass and go home.
well shit, we got some villainous individuals on our tail. These 3 will come into play later. Last thing I want to mention from this level is these little chompy fuckers. They are a nuisance and I hate them severely. They'll spawn in hordes and fly at you. That's all they do. I recommend using the chainsaw leg to get rid of them. Not much else to really say about this level, it's just some more destroyed city environments and whatnot. This does mark the point where levels start to become significantly longer though, so if you do decide to play the game after watching this, do be aware of that. Man, Sin's really done a number on this play. Giant floating eyeball! New level, number 2, and oh wait, there's another cutscene.
This contingency thereafter better be worth the price of admission. Just one more data set to go.
Do we let Teratech know that we got the first one?
No, we wait till we've got all the pieces before we proceed.
But I think he's been here, eh?
And,
You got it, boss man.
meet us at the second data array when you're finished.
Johnny! Where's Johnny?
So this Australian is after us now, very big problem, and the bad guys are getting the data thingies to do something. Well anyway, more important shit happens, like a new minigun upgrade that lets it fire instantly instead of having to wait half a second. This is something the second episode does a lot of, that is, giving you upgrades to your guns that are more straightforward with how they work. After this is where the level gets a whole lot more green and, oh look, a new enemy. Well, I say new with quotations, these are practically the same as the normal shotgunners, but they bring a little more usage out of the waster shotgun. Because if you shoot them with a pump shot, they'll explode, doing massive damage to everything around them. Doesn't mean you can't slide through them though. The rest of this level is really just a bunch of factory-themed areas. There's not a lot I can really say about it. Actually, I think out of all the levels in episode 2, this was probably my least favorite. It just kind of felt slow. It does have one redeeming factor though.
Psst. Johnny! Hey, over here! Here's Johnny!
Oh yeah, baby. Level 2 and we get a really fucking good boss fight. Jazz is, for lack of better terms, really fucking fast, but he has a few specific weaknesses. For one, you can flinch him with a shotgun pump and prevent him from using turbo time if he's on fire. You can also shoot some parts of the arena to dump acid on him, but I never did that and mainly just set him on fire and unloaded as many bullets as I could before he recovered. He's also got a banging theme, just listen to this.
That's all you got?
After you kill him, you steal his turbo time ability, and now you just have it. When you use it, you take half damage, deal significantly more damage, and enemies will drop health pickups when they die. Very useful tool. After you kill Jazz, you do a bunch of backtracking and end the level. This cutscene continues the trend of Johnny brutalizing the local goons, but this time it's for a more practical use, as he actually slides down this goon's intestines and ends up in the front room of the Teratech factory. So this level is another kind of just boring one. It's just a whole bunch of industrial areas. I don't think this level is bad, it's just I don't want to spend a couple minutes talking about a whole bunch of metal rooms that all look very similar. A few important things did happen though. For one, I got the second Uzi upgrade, which makes it so when you use one, it is instead an assault rifle that does more damage at a slower fire rate with increased accuracy. This also changes the primary fire to do more damage at point blank range. This upgrade further confused me on the point of the Uzis. Now, it seems like whichever mode of fire I use, they'll do about the same damage, but I also just got the upgrade for the minigun the level before, so that's still better? If you guys understand this gun more than me, do tell me in the comments, because this is the one gun I feel doesn't have a niche of its own. We also got a new big enemy, this strange individual. They're just really tanky and throw their mace around, as well as making some AoEs. Not so sure on this one, they only do 2 attacks and have a lot of health. I feel like the other tank enemies have a lot more thought put into them. This one just has even more health than them, so it takes longer to kill, which is more of an annoyance than a real problem. The last thing to mention is actually a big deal. This level gives you the grappling hook, which is yet another movement option. So now you can grapple, double jump, slide, and wall run. This, I think, is the best part of this level, as it introduces grappling into the platforming, and shows that you can grapple onto enemies to close the distance. Very cool shit. Let's move on to the... Hold on! We almost forgot to mention Teddy! Another tank enemy! This one is also kind of boring because he has only 2 attacks, a ground slam and a spin. The best thing to do is stun him with a shotgun and blast him with the minigun, or slide into him. Next level.
Giving him this is... It's desperate, that's what it is. But it's the best I can do for him until he can afford a full restoration of the original.
So now we know there is something majorly important in Johnny's little lunchbox, and it's connected to his past. Anyway, we're finally outside again, but unfortunately there is no grass to touch, so we must return to our League of Legends session. This level lives up to its name. It really looks like the outskirts of a cyberpunk city. This could have been the poor people area until, Sin destroyed everything. During this level, I got the Insta-Gibber upgrade for the Magnums, which makes them useful again. Basically, you're rewarded for using them because when you shoot them enough, they'll change into an ultra-powerful version and do massive damage as long as you don't miss. If you do miss, they go back to normal. Shout out to this arena that nearly made me burst the blood vessel with how frustrating it is. Don't come to my funeral. After some more running around and shooting shit, we learned the bad dudes are getting on a shuttle to get off the planet, and we're gonna try to hijack it because we're cool like that. A couple corpses later and we get the coolest concept for a gun, the telefrag rifle. This acts as a long-range sniper, but when you shoot it, provided the enemy is small enough, you will teleport inside them, thus telefragging them. It shows you how to use it by essentially forcing you to use it on one of these goons. Long-distance travel is a problem no more.
Sir, we cannot outrun that thing on foot.
We got another vehicle level here, and it's even better than the first. This time, it's a motorcycle, and surprisingly, it actually controls really good. This is essentially the same thing as the car, except it can't fly or shoot rockets, but it's still fucking badass. The whole level, except for like 2 sections, is made to be a high-speed thrill ride. You'll be mowing down enemies, dodging the giant laser from the sky, and zooming around like you're on Adderall right until you get into the acid pits, which forces you to slow down a little bit, because if you touch this green shit, it's an instant death. That was pretty neat. There's a tiny segment here where you're on foot until the end of the level, but before we move on, I should mention, earlier in the level, you use the Berserker power up for the first time. It gives you 2 big hands and you punch shit really hard. That's about it. No cutscene here, but I did start this level by getting the tax evasion implant, which just gives you more money when you kill enemies. Remember what I said earlier about Toxin Refinery being my least favorite level in episode 2? That was a lie. This one takes the cake. The first point of annoyance was this first arena. Very small with some sloths and poison zombies at first. Then a kite spawned and I died trying to get to this med kit. So now I've got to do the whole thing again, and it's a big pile of shit. Then here, there's a split on this tiny ledge, which is already annoying on its own, but when you get over there, like 4 poison zombies spawn in just because fuck you. After that is some more industrial rooms, you know, the usual shit, but Sam does tell us this.
Sir, I don't mean to give the impression that I'm a nosy AI monitoring everyone's conversations for my own amusement, but I've intercepted another transmission from inside the power plant.
I almost have the last data set. Security on this thing's tight. Gotta remember to bring a tech guy on these things. Johnny's on his way. You up to killing him again?
The only regret I have about killing Johnny is I wasn't gonna be able to kill him again. And yet, here we are, ready to re-blow his brains out. This place really is paradise. Oh, I'm so excited. Give me that gun.
Sir, we should be expecting heavy resistance when we reach the power plant. They know you.
And right after it, we get the Ion Blaster, which is the most powerful gun in the game. This is essentially an orbital laser cannon that will fire down wherever you're aiming. I immediately got the Mega Beam upgrade for it, which is basically a pocket nuke. I do like the arena after that. It's a nice one. And then you go through some caves, and for some reason there's giant worms that dig tunnels, so watch out for those. Do a bunch more running around and arrive at this nasty looking arena, kill everyone here, and exit the level. No cutscene to speak of here. This is the last standard level in this episode, and this first arena really shows. Immediately, 2 sloths, some drones, and a light peppering of goons shows the game is done fucking around in any way. When you clear all the enemies out, you get another arena with some slightly easier enemies, but you also see the main doors are locked, so you gotta grab the red key and take a side entrance to get in. Then you do a really cool little platforming bit, and well shit, we need the blue key now. Luckily enough, there's a conveniently placed group of enemies that we can use the telefrag rifle on, followed by another, blue key, blue door. I wonder what this inconspicuous purple armor is doing here. I wonder... Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Clearly, the leaves on this building show that they are eco-friendly.
You open the door. Open it, you son of a bitch!
Ripper, tell me what the hell's going on down there.
It's Ma, boss. That 2-timing bastard's taking the contingency and locked me out.
Mother of all fucks! We need those data sets, Whipper! Do not let him take them!
Apparently, the bad guys are having some drama between them. Surely this won't be foreshadowing anything in the future. Here's a room with some big guys. Go flip the lever to get some even bigger guys. Now we're finally inside the actual power plant, and you can tell because this place is clearly not following OSHA workplace safety laws, evident from the purple lightning substance on the floor. Oh yeah, there are so many violations happening here. Paradise Electric is for certain going to face a class action lawsuit. At least they have functioning elevators here. Finally, at the bottom of the towers, you go through some admittedly annoying arenas while doing some fun platforming until you reach these inconspicuously placed augment gene and gun stations. I wonder who put these here. This is also the first time I bothered to record the info deck, so I'll mention it here. It's your standard codex for everything in the game, although I think some parts of it aren't finished, but hey, we still got one more update coming up. It'll probably be filled in then. Oh, something is definitely up. You don't just leave this many rockets on the floor for no reason.
Johnny Turbo, as I live and breathe. And I am living and breathing, but you, on the other hand. With all that chrome tech shit, you got more of a little zap and a kind of a buzz than a pulse these days. Am I right? Am I right, Johnny? Ugh, flesh. So overrated. Is that what you think? So, here's the thing. You might be a hideous pile of metal and, guts. And I might be the bitch who made you that way. But we gotta hit pause on the whole mortal enemies thing. What's going down is much bigger than us. Ma's out of control, and we're the only street cleaners in this system who can stop him. So, bestest buddy, what do you say? Do 2 unlikely badasses team up, save the Oh, you are dead.
So we finally get to kill the bitch that made Johnny who he is today. This boss fight is honestly more fun than the previous. For one thing, the arena isn't in a fucking poison swamp, and the additional enemies she summons aren't the annoying poison zombies. I love the movement options here. There's grapple hooks, bounce pads, and runnable walls all over the place, so it really encourages you to go through this fight any way you like. During the third phase, she'll corrupt the arena so you can only use a telefrag rifle. This is really fucking cool, because it forces you to use something you otherwise wouldn't in a boss scenario. I know some people would argue that's a bad thing, but you must remember you can also chainsaw slide through her, and you can still use turbo time, so if you suck at aiming this thing quickly, like I do, then use turbo time so you can get some clean shots in. Oh boy, a spaceship! I sure hope it doesn't crash.
Johnny Turbo, this ends now. I think it's time we finally meet.
I'm just gonna let this little bit play here. It's fucking great.
The charge for Terra Tech. In the red corner, the Mach Tech powered Maw awaits his challenger. Which corp will come out on top? Hold on to your hats. We're about to find out.
Now, I am going to jump the gun a little here and tell you this is a boss fight. It is a fucking wonderful boss fight, but it is hard. This is a definite skill filter and could potentially be a quit moment for some people. I am not one of those people.
Johnny Turbo in the flesh. Well, just how much of you is flesh these days? No, don't tell me. I've got a way of finding out. You call yourself a street cleaner? Let's see you clean this up.
We're finally facing off against Maul, and he is fucking tough. He only has 3 or 4 attacks, and each one has a sound cue, but if you get hit by any of these, that's a big chunk of HP you just lost. You can see in this clip, I got hit by one of these balls and instantly lost 80 health, so you've got to be pretty flawless. The main difficulty of this fight is how long it goes on for, which is 4 phases. Each phase takes place in a different arena, and is mostly the same until the last phase, where you're in the actual stadium, and Maul gains a new attack. He seems to have forgotten he's not in a Toho game, but luckily enough, this is pretty easy to dodge. You just gotta run away from it and go between the beams when they're spread far enough. I also discovered that the low HP breathing sound does not go away during cutscenes.
Mark my words. When I return, I'm gonna tear your heart out.
There it is, the starport. We've made it, sir. Now all we need to do is...
I hope you weren't needing that.
Johnny, listen. What I'm giving you is temporary. The thing is, it buys you time. But it's not a new lease on life. If you don't get the full surgery in 8 months, you're gone. All your thoughts, your memories, everything that makes you you fades forever. The surgery's not cheap, but I know a guy who might have a contract.
From one professional to another, no hard feelings, just doing my job. Though, the job's changed, hasn't it? My role's needed to expand to tackle the scale of the threat. Sin's completely consumed this moon, and it's only a matter of time before it expands beyond our reach. But with this device, their little all contingency. Sin can be controlled. Power like that, it's too much for TerraTech. Can't trust it to corporations.
Mom, what the fuck is going on down there? Give us back.
Unlimited power. That should be reserved for gods. I cannot have you getting in my way. Your time is up.
Well, that's really bad.